right, boys and girls, welcome to Trading with Meatball. We're going to recap what we did today. We talk about wins and losses here, and we want you to pick your own setups. Don't listen to me, don't follow me. Learn to do your own setups. And we had posted some videos yesterday and today talking about good and bad chat rooms, discords, and gurus. Shinobi again, very smart and a great coach. Posted some great things today, and Kane Capital's good. There's some other great people out there with good content and education and trading groups. So not everybody's uh, bad. There's great people out there. You can click on my profile and see who I'm following. But let's look at what we did today. Okay, so before the market opens, I usually post something, and I actually got a like today. Thank you, whoever that was. But I usually post what I'm going to do, and I share the charts, and I play the Rivian because she's violent, and also because the calls are really cheap. And so you don't have to blow up your account to hit a home run. If you got $1,000, you can make a 20, 30, $50 bet and watch it double or triple. And if you miss, you lost 20 bucks. You didn't, throw 20 or 30% of your account away. Unfortunately, another alternative, which I had experimented with, was buying the DTE options on the SPY because they're cheap. Well, they also expire today, and Rivian and some other ones like Snap or whatever, you can get the calls that are good for until Friday, and that gives you a little time value. We'll talk about the Rivian here in a minute. But we talk about wins and losses, and today we're going to talk about trying to catch a falling knife and why we did something this morning, which it worked out great. But let's talk about why we did it. So here we are at 9:36 this morning, and I had posted I was looking at the Rivian before the market opened, and then we went with the Google 6 minutes in. And I have posted before that I don't usually trade the open. Um, and there's a reason for that. I'm a student of many people. Most of you guys know that I'm a student of Darth, a trader. He doesn't trade the first 5 minutes. And so, why did I take this trade? Okay, so we had looked at the Google before, and we had posted that we were holding Google calls and trading Google calls, and that it was in a zone. And of course, it jumped up here, and there's a Rivian. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you see this on Twitter with a circle, that means I took that trade. Okay, that's what the circle is. I'm telling you, I went in. Okay, and yeah, it worked out. But let's look at why I did it. Let's look at why I did it. Okay, yeah, every dog has his day. Woof. And let's take a look at the chart. Why did I do this? And how did we get away with it? Okay, so I trade the 5 minute chart. Here it is, and I draw my own zones. And it was in this zone for the last 2 days, and you can see other trades I took. And I was hoping that it would get out of this zone. And you should always zoom out. Thank you, Alejandro at King Capital. He always says zoom out. Look at the 30-minute or the 1 hour. This is the daily. But you can see this zone, and it's been in it before. And it went higher, and then it dropped, and a lot of things did. And then the market and a lot of other stocks are coming back up. And so it's trying to go back up. But that is a zone, and it's fighting in there for a couple days here. Let's go to something else. Here, there's the 1 hour chart. And you can see it chopping in the zone. And I trade the 5 minute, and so we've been watching that for a couple days. It's been in this zone, and I'm saying to myself, it's gonna pop up out of that zone and gap up overnight. And so I was holding. I was holding, and had sold before, and I was watching, and I didn't go in yesterday. This is yesterday, the 15th, and I always mark the opening print. That's what these little black lines are. Thank you, Jake. And so this morning I did something I don't usually do. And let's do the 1 minute chart, because that's what I look at the first 15 minutes or so is the 1 minute chart. I'm not good at trading the open, and I had realized that the last 6 months in the desert as I isolated myself and did nothing but try to figure out something that works. I've realized by looking at my trade log that a lot of my losers were the early trades that I took. So I just cut out the first 30 minutes and wait for the trend. And it worked for me, and I started having consistency. And I don't want to be a one trick pony, though. I want to take advantage of opportunities when they're there, but I don't want to FOMO. And so, on something like this that I've been watching for days and I've been waiting for it to do a gap up, I went ahead and I went in at the open, and I took this big candle with a wick on the bottom, and it worked. But why? Okay, so I was looking for something like this. Okay, here you go. You go to my profile. I had this one pinned, and it's not just because I hit it. It's because I'm a comedian and I'm a big Johnny Carson fan, And I had posted this boy, the biggest flag in the history of Little League football. Hello, and that was like a 6 month flag, and of course it jumped. But if you go back and look at it, it wasn't a clear jump. Now, I was a stockbroker 20 years ago with 300 clients, and I did a lot of trades, and I sucked. But I learned a lot too. And one of the things I learned is that something happens when you get to the end of a flag. And it's not always good, but a lot of times what I see, and this one drifted down below the flag a little bit, but what I see is this, and this is the 1 hour chart, whatever. I see a spike up and then a dip and a run. And you see it over and over and over. And here's the Rivian. Let's go to a 30-minute on the Rivian. And it's probably better on the 5 minute. I trade the 5 minute. Let's check it out. Here you go. So here's the end of a flag, and it drifts up, but then it spikes down before it does the next leg up. And that was a big one, man. And so then it started doing another flag. It doesn't mean it has to go straight up, but what it means to me in my experience is something's going to happen when it gets to the end of the flag. It could be good or bad, but if it's going up like this and it's legging up, a traditional pattern that I see is a spike and then the drop and the fake out, whatever you want to call it, and then the next leg up because nothing goes straight up. And so I was looking for that the other day on Amazon, and I had posted before the market opened not to chase it because it was at the yearly high and it did these retracements on the 14th. And so on the 15th, I posted not to chase it because it looked like it was going to open up above pre-market, and it did, and it dropped. Okay, and I was looking for it to do the drop and then the next leg up, and it failed. But that's why I did that one. So let's look at today's and why we did it and how we got away with it. Why we did it, we just talked about. And then knowing how to read candlesticks helps. And I'm on the 1 minute chart. And if you want to trade the open, you can check out Moneyline and Stratton Oaks if he's still there. He trades the open a lot better than I ever will. God bless him. And so the big wick on the bottom of the candle, let's get rid of the volume. Thank you. Okay, so you can see the big wick on the bottom, and then the next one is an engulfing bear, bullish engulfing or whatever. It's bigger than the other one, and so I'm counting on this as a reversal because it's below or right at where it was yesterday, and that's yesterday's opening print. It opened up and then dropped down. Okay, and it might not have been a flag, but it's a traditional setup that I know when it's going to leg up. It'll pop and then it'll dip before it does this next big run. And she did not disappoint, man. I posted later I was selling it somewhere up in here. I never claim false victories. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I sold it up in here, and I took my win because yesterday I ate chorizo and I posted that, and so today I got them back, and I hope the boys in New York enjoyed that as much as I did. F you, buddy. And so it kept running, and I hope somebody made a bunch off that. But I sold into here because that's a big gap up, and it did what I wanted it to do, and I got the hell off. And then I posted, I think, to Darth Trader, who does not trade the 5 minute candle. Thanks, buddy, because he's the one that got me to break some of my bad habits. And this is 9:36. That's 6 minutes in. I don't usually trade the open, but I did on this one because it was something I was waiting for, and it was doing exactly what I like to see. The gap up, the drop, and then a big wick on the tail. And the bigger the wick on the tail, the bigger the movement that's coming. And she did not disappoint. Now, that's not a guarantee, but yeah, it worked out. And thank you, Darth. And so the Rivian, let's take a look at that. I didn't want to trade much the rest of the day, and I posted that. I stuck to my plan. I'm not trading anymore. I talked about that. I'm going to sit on my gains. I'm not doing anything. I'm watching the wild card. The wild card was Rivian, and I posted that I was buying a falling knife. And so I stuck to my plan. No FOMO, no chasing. I did not give back the gains from today. And green is green, baby. I'm growing a small account, and it's not the small account challenge. It's my real life. I'm an old man flipping stocks, okay? So trade your own plan is what I advocate. I want you to pick your own setups, but beating myself and my own bad habits is a victory for me. And so let's look at the Rivian. I posted this. It's starting to show support here at 17. Let's look at the big picture. And let's go to the 5 minute, okay, because that's what we trade. And so I posted in the morning that she was, oh, hello, there we go, that she was flagging again. And we had talked the last couple of days on our Twitter about the fact that it was forming support here at 17. And, I was posting this morning, it looks like 17 is now support, as we predicted the other day. And we said the other day, we'll have to see if it becomes support, but it sure looks like it when it does these leg ups like that, and then it consolidates right there. So why did it drop? And why did we try to catch a falling knife? Okay, so the why is right here. If you look at the news, they had bad news today. There was a software glitch. Okay, and that causes a big drop. Okay, and if she's violent, so I'm going to say that, okay, that was expected on bad news, and maybe they oversold it and I could get a bounce. I'm also only throwing a very small amount of money. Call it $1,000 account, and I'm making a $20 bet. Okay, very small. It's like we just hit the jackpot on the roulette table, and we cashed out with our wife at the cashier, and she's got all the money in her purse, and we're going to eat at the restaurant now. And that's how it goes for me at the Mirage. I love the Mirage. And so I want to stop and put a quarter in a slot machine, honey, real quick. And she's like, okay, go ahead, put $1 in there, or whatever, put $20 in. But we're not going to give back all of our gains. And so Rivian calls are good till tomorrow, and they're real cheap. And again, sticking to my plan, no FOMO and no chasing. But I am a degenerate gambler, and I don't want to be scared to trade. And let's take advantage of what's going on. Well, I trade Rivian. I watch it every day, and I know there's bad news, so I'm hoping it's oversold. Here's the news from 2 days ago, which was good news. They're selling the vehicles to people other than Amazon. And so we got good news long term, we got bad news short term. To me, that's a possible buying opportunity. So why did we go in and where we went in? It wasn't just trying to catch a falling knife. I said yesterday that's very dangerous. And I said it again today. All right, well, we talked about the small bet. We talked about the calls are good till tomorrow. They're not zero DTs. I also circled the trades. The first one, and yeah, I took the first green candle. It was like a $12 bet. Who cares? I'm working on my eBay store, which is my second stream of income. I always try to publish books. We got one in the shoot right now. Thank you, Amazon, for agreeing to publish that. And then I took another green candle down here, but it wasn't just because it was a green candle. It's because this was a big dump, but way below the flag and below the opening print from yesterday. Okay. And then again, I waited 30 minutes or an hour or whatever I waited. I don't know. I waited like 30 minutes, and I put another contract on there or whatever, right? I'm just playing. I'm not throwing my money that I won. I'm sitting on my gains, man. But I know that this thing could easily come back, and I'm willing to put 10, 20, 30 bucks in it while I'm watching. It also helps me mentally participate in what's going on, and it alleviates the FOMO and the chasing. I was watching the Microsoft, and I was going to put the last money I had into the Microsoft when it crossed over the trend line right about here. I think it was 11 or 12. There you go, 12 o'clock. And that's the method I like, is the 5 minute and the 20-day moving. And she goes a couple candles over or a couple candles below, and don't fight the trend. And so today was a gap up with a retracement, and I'm looking at the trend is up. And so when about 12 o'clock it went over, I almost did that, and I actually circled it, and I was going to post it and do it. And I said, nope, I'm going to stick to my plan. So I missed some good ones today, but buying a Rivian and embedding very small, it's a quarter in the slot machine. It solves my personal bad habit of wanting to trade too much. I'm still participating in something that I follow every day and I know pretty well, but I bought again. Why did I buy down here? Okay, well, I added this zone, and I added another one later, which is the bottom one. But I posted this one on Twitter that I had added another zone, and I shared it with everybody. And so here's today, basically, the 16th. Here's the opening print, and there's the dump. And we bought as it gave us another green candle because I had stopped, and let's just erase it. And I stopped and I saw it chopping. And I want you to draw your own zones, okay? And so when it was stopping there, I did this. And I said, okay, it was only right here, okay? And that's where we were. That's where it was. We didn't have the rest of this. It wasn't even there. So it was like this on my screen, right? We didn't know what was going to happen later. So we can see this part right here up to here. And I said, well, let's just draw a zone there and take a look at it. And so you zoom out a little bit and just take the zone and drag it left, go backwards in time, and son of a bitch, it reveals something. Thank you, Alejandro at King Capital. He always says zoom out, and you'll get some answers. And do it. Go to the 1 hour or the 30 minute and look what happens in that little zone or whatever. There's something going on here before where it stopped a couple times and did a little head and shoulders thing or whatever you want to call it. And so that was the second purchase we made, and I drew a little zone there. Let's tighten it up just to where it reacted. And again, you zoom out and look left, backwards in time, and look how many times it stopped right there in that zone. You guys draw your own zones, pick your own setups. You don't need me or anyone else. And then so going forward, look what it did later in the day. You can draw your own zones, guys, and it does react to it. I bought again down here because we had this big candle on the bottom with it. Well, it's not a big candle. We had a candle with a tail. That's good enough for me. I had waited an hour or two and it took another dump. And I'm not going to say that's what I wanted. Of course, I wanted to go up to the moon because I was buying calls, but I'm not doing anything. I'm watching unless it gives me a reason to do something. And so why did I buy it down here? Just because it had a little candle with a tail on it? I mean, there wasn't even any volume to speak of, I don't think. Oh, there was. There was a good volume candle right here. But that's not why I did it. So let's talk about why I did it. And the why is very simple. It bottomed out at $15.20 twice in the last 2 weeks. And so today it's going down to below 16. And I'm saying, okay, well, I know 15.20 was the bottom the last two times. And I don't know if it's going to drop $3 in one day or $2.50 in one day. I think it's really overreacting, I think, to this whole bad news about the software glitch. Let me go ahead and take one more. Again, it's like putting a quarter in. It's a $10, $20 contract. I think the first one was 15 and then it was $12 and then it was $8 or something. So I think we have $23 in it, okay? I'm not giving them back the several $100 I tagged them for this morning on the Google. They can't have it. And so she's climbing back up and look where she stops, maybe in our zone, huh? So I hope you guys got something out of our wins and our losses. And trying to catch a falling knife is dangerous, right? So we talked about why we bought here and here and here, and it's risky, and we bet small. But more importantly, I think catching the falling knife theory on the 1 minute, the daily here on the Google is a good lesson, right? I don't call this a falling knife. This was just a wild spike you get at the open. We had already determined that it was in this zone and we were looking for a gap up. And I don't like to trade the open, but sometimes it pays off. Don't be afraid to try some new stuff as long as it's a calculated risk. And pick your own setups, trade your own plan. I wish you guys the best of luck, okay? You can and you will do this, and God bless you guys.